Hello, welcome to the Snap UK, and like that, the season's over. It's very much like the Super Bowl. Only one half of this show has turned up today. So it's me, Paul Griff.
Hi there.
Hello.
You've gone straight into professional mode. Paul and I are still struggling over here.
Yeah, no, I won't tell you why. The Super Bowl has been and gone. Feels like it was.
It feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, but it's. Should we get into it?
So I see this very much like AJ Brown. AJ Brown said the high is over, and now he gets back to doing what he does best, which is making people uncomfortable. And that's how I see being a podcaster.
I sat in this same position last week and said I have never looked forward to a Super Bowl less than this one. And I'm so happy to report that I really, really enjoyed this demolition. Like, you text me, John, and you said, I'm not sure about this. Only one team's turned up. And I thought, yeah, they have. And isn't it glorious to watch the other team get absolutely shat on? Because they did.
Your enjoyment of the game purely mattered on just how much you enjoy the misery of others.
No,
I love the misery of others.
Going back to what you mentioned last week, how you felt about Kansas is how we all felt about New England for 20 years.
I get that now. I understand the joy you all got when the Eagles won their first Super Bowl.
I do like the Eagles' role now as just
smashing up three-peats.
Dynasty breakers.
Yeah. You got too big for your britches. Send in the Eagles. It's been 5 years since they last destroyed the city.
Man, they do celebrate, don't they?
It is great. And
so, final score: Chiefs 22, Eagles 40.
Which flatters
the
Chiefs.
That is so much lipstick on that pig.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Peter haven't been there banning you testing on that animal.
It was horrible.
Oh man, what a garbage time run up that was. The Eagles stopped playing after 3 quarters, basically.
Yeah.
But
I mean, 7 of the points came after Sirianni had already been soaked in Gatorade. Like, that's how much garbage there was in that garbage time scoring. I think I sent Griff a picture of Homer, of the meme, because we're all a bit of a Simpsons fan here, but yeah, it was thanks to Mahomes' patented last-second magic, the final score of Super Bowl, Kansas 22, Philadelphia 40, and it was a Simpsons meme it was horrible. I haven't really entered into the Schadenfreude of it all. I think all I've seen the last week is other podcasts, other shows, just kicking Mahomes, who wasn't good. It was his worst game I think I've ever seen him play.
But he was playing probably one of the most dynamic, young, quick offenses going.
Defenses.
Yeah, defenses. Let's
And them too.
Let's look at this from a different. So we can look at Patrick Mahomes and his 33 yards at halftime.
Yeah.
When we're ready.
So I do apologise for breaking in.
You should. It's your house.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kenny Lima.
That's right. He ran more yards than the Chiefs.
Probably with that terrible Squid Game ripoff, whatever that was at halftime.
That was my favourite stat of the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I quite enjoyed Kendrick Lamar, but I like Kendrick Lamar. If you don't like Kendrick Lamar, he's not like a pop star that you can like. Well, it's fine, I'll like.
I don't understand. He's got beef with an explorer.
Yeah,
Didn't get it. Very strange.
Yeah, he hates Sir Francis Drake. He refutes the idea that he imported
Potatoes and
tobacco to the modern world.
Firstly, I'm sorry I have to say this on this podcast. How dare you? How dare
Take the name of Francis Drake out your mouth.
How dare you besmirch Sir Walter Raleigh in my house?
Sir Walter Raleigh. There we go.
What the fuck did Sir Francis Drake do?
I don't know. Who knows? I thought Raleigh invented the bicycle. Anyway, we've gone off topic. I think
UK
something has
sports
been
and football.
missed from last week's show, which is not like us to miss a blatantly fucking obvious thing.
Okay.
This was reasonably predictable
Yeah.
because Vic Fangio, as head coach of the Denver Broncos, faced Patrick Mahomes often.
Yeah.
And actually, he did all right. Like, in Fangio's second season, Mahomes put up 20 points a game against Fangio's defenses. Now, the Chiefs won both games. But the second of those games, they won on a fumble from the Broncos offense being returned for 6 points. Had that not happened, the Broncos would have won. So Fangio had Mahomes' number. And throughout the entire Super Bowl, he didn't blitz. He brought pressure with 4 at the front. And absolutely showed up the fact that the Chiefs O-line and Joe Tooney as a real standout struggled like hell and just could not give Mahomes more than second and a half.
Yeah.
He had nothing. It just could not get out of his own way because that O-line was up in his grill. The second interception to Zach Baum, like literally the tackle was in his face because there was nowhere for them to go. They were just getting beaten man for man.
It was so reminiscent of the Bucks game where...
Again, they made Mahomes so uncomfortable with the rush.
Yeah.
It's so fun to watch this elite player snap the ball, shit himself, roll to the right, shit himself, and make a mistake.
Yeah. So, aside from the fact that Fangio had this experience to know how to unsettle Mahomes, simply put, the Eagles players did a better job.
Yeah.
There wasn't one Chiefs lineman on the O-line who won their man-on-man battles. There wasn't one. They were all getting overwhelmed by a 4-man rush. That's the key thing, which meant everyone else was blanketed.
Yeah.
So there was no easy outs. You saw it late on to Worthy, but for 3 quarters, there was nothing out over the top. And Mahomes was being forced to just run in circles. We can discuss what we think is going to happen with Travis Kelce. I think he checked out mentally at halftime in this game and was done.
There's one clip going around where Mahomes must run more than the rest of the team put together in that one. He just keeps circling and circling and circling. He makes like a 12-yard run. He almost drops the ball at the end. At that point, Kelsey's just there, like he hasn't moved. I think he takes 3 steps in the whole thing. I think he checked out. It's a shame because now what is happening is reactionaries are going to go, well, he was never that great, and it's a bit unfair because you're judging him on his probably
his worst single performance. But don't
but
forget,
he's been fucking brilliant.
He has been, but he was quiet for a large portion of the season.
Yes.
They blanketed him in cotton wool to keep him for the playoffs, and on the big stage, he didn't produce.
No.
So it kind of goes against form, though. I admit I thought that I predicted the Chiefs because it's very rare, from my experience of the Super Bowl era, that the dynamic, exciting team wins.
Yeah,
it's usually that team that just solid their way through the season.
Yeah, they have a plan. There wasn't anybody in this room this evening or in the pub where I watched it who, for 3 scores down that the Chiefs were at half-time, thought this game's over. Yeah. We all sat there thinking, well, the Chiefs will score in their first possession. They had the kickoff for the second half. We all assumed they would score, and then they'll get a defensive stand, and they'll score again, and at some point the Eagles will start to get jittery, and they'll cock up, and the ball will come free, and the Chiefs will score again, and it'll be 21-21, and then they'll snatch it at the death, because that's what they've been doing all season long. And instead, the Eagles kept the foot on the throat and just choked the life out of them. And nothing. This was 34-zip.
Yeah.
We had a pick 6. It was such a bad decision to throw the ball. The pick 6 to Cooper DeJean, scoring on his birthday in the Super Bowl. And
affirmative action, DEI, guys. It's a white cornerback and a black quarterback winning the Super Bowl. Who'd have thought it?
That's true. That's very true. Good spot.
2025, guys.
Are you suggesting that all issues of balance have been redressed in the league, and we can stop.
That's why they've got rid of the end racism things.
It's all finished. Everything is okay.
They've ended racism. Racism is over. So,
according to John Farrow,
according to the league, we've got rid of end racism banners. So, that's fine. What were we about?
So,
the throat. Yeah,
so
it was a bad
both
thing.
interceptions.
The white male aged 35 to 50 has declared racism is over.
It's not. Yeah.
Both interceptions were poor, and they were rushed choices by a quarterback who was desperate to find an out. At the same time, Jalen Hurts was just untouched. He threw a poor interception himself, and it cost them basically nothing. It cost them nothing because effectively it was a punt.
Yeah.
Because it was intercepted on, the 4-yard line? And ultimately led to points for the Eagles in the long run.
Yeah.
So it was a rare, costless interception. You don't get many. But Hurts was untouched. Jordan Mailata this season might be the most under-the-radar, high-performing player in the league.
Yeah.
He's played 400-odd snaps and given up 1 sack all season. And 16 pressures all season.
It's mad.
Like, that's that for protecting a quarterback who runs in circles as well and just, breaks the play down and disappears. That's incredible.
And holds onto the ball way too long.
Yeah.
And there are, Jim is right. There are many faults for Jalen Hurts, but Mailata, that line is just... I was saying before the show started, me and Paul here, if you look at the whole depth of the squad, it might be the most impressive squad we've seen built in recent years.
I
can only think of maybe the Bucks.
But
the Bucks,
even then, I struggled.
But they didn't have as good a offensive line as it was good, but it wasn't as good as this Eagles.
It's so well rounded.
Mike Evans, AJ Brown. I think Mike Evans is better, but the defense, everything. It's testament to
Howie
Roseman and your back office.
Don't forget Super Bowl winning quarterback backup Kenny Pickett.
Yes,
yes, he can.
He did, apparently so. The line itself though: Mailata, Dickerson, Jurgens, Mickey Becton, talk about turning a career around and just being impressive when it counts. Brilliant. And Lane Johnson.
Dude's Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Guaranteed Hall of Fame, yeah.
Of course he is. Absolutely. And yet quiet.
Yeah.
Just everything they did went exactly how you'd want it to. Nick Sirianni is not one of the best 5, 6, 7 coaches in the league, but as a builder of teams, him and Howie Roseman have brought in the right players and the right coaches to coach those players and allowed that to happen. You can't denigrate what Sirianni's done by saying he's rubbish, but I would guess 7 or 8 other coaches first.
Yeah, I think
there were mix of coordinators and players and getting it all to fuse together. That's a brilliant testament to how a GM and a head coach should work together.
Yeah,
I think it'd be interesting to see what they do now, because when Pedersen won, he lost his OC, his DC instantly. All right, they've lost the OC, but if you keep Sirianni, you keep Fangio, the vast majority of this team is still on rookie contracts,
I don't think the loss of the OC is as big a loss as when they lost the Super Bowl, bizarrely.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest... I like Kellen Moore, but I don't think he's irreplaceable.
In all fairness, if they give it to the end of next season, they'll probably have him back.
Yes, exactly.
We'll get to Kellen Moore in a little while.
But
keeping Fangio is the bigger.
It's huge, isn't it?
Is the bigger thing.
That's such a silly decision. Would you like to sit in this limousine, or you could get in this tuk-tuk?
But you can drive the tuk-tuk yourself.
Yeah,
chauffeur-driven limousine or self-drive tuk-tuk.
It has no wheels.
You got to run it like a Flintstones car. We'll get to him. But overall, like I say, every single Eagles player turned up and did their job better than the opposing Chiefs player.
Yeah.
And you will rarely see that. But we had all expected the same thing. The Chiefs all season, they went through, they won, 10 games by 1 score.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was like a record number of one-score wins, and they were behind in 9 of those 10 games.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is nuts. You cannot keep going, and yet they kept going. They kept going. They got into the playoffs. They looked incredibly impressive. They get to the Super Bowl, and they just looked unprepared.
Yeah.
Andy Reid didn't look like he had an answer. He looked absolutely distraught at halftime. Steve Spagnuolo, who we've praised all season, he looked bemused. Could not believe the plays they were giving up.
It was,
but you can't expect players on the back end to hold on and cover a player for 5, 6, 7 seconds. That's not realistic.
No,
and
you
yet
can't.
That Eagles O-line was giving Hurts all day.
But I'm also, it's hard to predict a scrambling quarterback.
Yep.
A crambling quarterback.
Scrambling quarterback, yeah.
It's different.
Very, really hard to predict.
I saw one in the garden earlier. A scrambling quarterback, a generational talent running back with a line that can hold. You can't plan defence for that.
And yet, Spagnuolo, I wouldn't say shut down Barkley, but certainly contained Barkley.
Yeah.
It's not like he was the talent that won the game for the Eagles, which we thought they would do if they were going to win. That's how we assumed they were going to win. And it just didn't transpire that way. All in all, Saquon had a quiet game.
Yeah. They did. That was the only thing they really did well was they did keep Barkley at bay, but
there's so much more to this team, and I think first the thing I liked was Vegas would have absolutely loved it that Jahan Dotson caught the first touchdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know we've mentioned it before that receiving core at Philadelphia is just stunning.
Yeah, it is. It is very good. It's mad.
I think you've got a Heisman winner, a Heisman winning wideout who's not your best wideout.
Yeah.
It's insane, isn't it?
I mean, literally, like, I think just Smith possibly is the only, even the tight end, Goddard, I think, would get onto most teams. He's been brilliant. So, yeah.
Yeah, he gets ball.
Yeah.
For context, Barkley in the regular season was averaging 5.8 yards a carry, and in the Super Bowl, 2.3. Like, Spagnuolo did the job he needed to do and assumed the rest of the team would do enough.
Yeah.
And they simply didn't.
Nah, it was...
It was a masterclass. It was a masterclass
brilliant.
in taking the squad you've got and wringing every ounce of talent out of it, just like the Bucs did when they shut down the Chiefs. Or they didn't shut them down. It was more back and forth. But the point is they pressured Mahomes the same. And it was the first time, one of the very few times, that you will see Mahomes look human. And you've got a question now, is this the start of the drought where Brady won 3 for the Patriots and then went a decade without having another shot?
I think, well...
Or certainly a decade without winning it again anyway. He had shots because you fuckers beat him twice. But, you know, he was on pace to overtake Brady's 7 Super Bowl wins.
Yeah.
But how many can you afford to lose when you know, like, chances of them getting back to the Super Bowl next year? If you were asking me to put money on it now, it's a massive no.
Massive no.
Because they've got to do some rebuilding.
But also, you've got a lot of parts that weren't really in place at the time they should be. And I know contracts will get rid of a few of them, but I'd still be remiss to go too hard on an offense with D-Hop.
I'm never going to bet against the Chiefs because you do, and they've proven to us time and time again, over the last 7 years that this is just what they do.
They've been in the AFC Championship game 7 years in a row, haven't they?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, like we are. It's apart from Joe Burrow, it's just unmitigated success.
And it's a shame because I'd love to have seen the Chiefs versus that Rams team.
Yeah, but I'm glad because that was that Bengals year that was brilliant. But yeah, like I do think Travis Kelce started the week by being very like, no, I'm not quitting, and now he's talking on his podcast with his brother, going how beaten up he feels, and I do get the feeling he might go. Once again, I think you do need to replace him. But actually, they've shown this year that you don't really have to rely on him anymore.
Noah Brown is serviceable.
They get Rashee Rice back next year. I'd like to see them build the defense because there's
Chris Jones and friends.
There's obvious holes. Nick Bolton, I really like. There are some good players on that defense, but it relies on the scheme. I'd like to see scheme and players. I
think they'll retool the O-line before they do anything else.
Yes, exactly that.
Because that scheme that they have on defense will continue to win them games. But that O-line will cost them games because everyone's now seen the blueprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've given it away, and at the moment, they're not in a position to change that.
It's a copy me league, isn't it?
Of course it is. Now, again, I'm not forecasting the downfall of the Chiefs. I'm just saying, we talk every week, right, one or two of these AFC quarterbacks are not going to win a Super Bowl. Mahomes has got 3 now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you be surprised if 5 years from now he's still only got 3?
No, I wouldn't
be surprised.
Because
it's really hard to do what they've done.
Of course, it's nigh on impossible. 7 consecutive championship games. Are you telling me they're getting an 8th consecutive? I'll say no. Of course you can't guarantee it. But I think the year after that, they probably won't either. Just purely because you can't. It's just not a thing. It doesn't happen. So you're probably looking at another 3 seasons before he gets a shot at another Super Bowl. And what on earth makes you think they'll definitely win it? They're amazing. He's brilliant. I enjoyed this because he looked human and it gave me heart for the fact that the leagues can actually be balanced.
Yeah.
Hurts got MVP, but he wasn't brilliant. He just wasn't terrible.
No, the Super Bowl MVP for me isn't an award which gives the best player in the game the award.
No, it's usually the winning team's quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, Brady got MVPs when he was dreadful.
Yeah.
But the point is, Hurts was good enough and has also therefore shown other teams, look, build your lines, get a good defensive coordinator, have some impact players. Don't put all your eggs just in the quarterback basket. Hurts is a great quarterback. No, Hurts is a really good quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback.
No. I agree with you, but also the Eagles have been lucky because they had that sucky year and were able to pick up a Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
The problem with the Chiefs is they've been drafting 32.
Well,
31, 32 for the last 7-8 years. After a while, the pool will dry up.
It's not lucky. It's not lucky that you lose 8 of 9 of your previous season. It's even more impressive that you come back the next year and win a Super Bowl. 12 months after you've lost seemingly all hope, you were on the hot seat, and you've lost your center, your offensive captain. Really, the guy who's been there, done that. And it turns out, you just move Kurt Jurgens up to centre, and you can you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And it's okay because we're going to take Mekhi Becton and turn him into the best guard in the league.
Let's talk quickly about what the Chiefs have to do then to retool. So for me, the running game.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed watching Kareem Hunt this season, but in the Super Bowl, 3 attempts for 9 yards. P. Ryan 1 for 8 and Pacheco 3 for 7. Now, it wasn't a day to be running the ball too much because they didn't have the time, but there's no impact from any of those players.
Yeah.
They need to go again. They tried a couple of years ago with Edwards-Helaire. That didn't pay off.
No.
They just haven't quite done it at running back, which means everything goes through Mahomes. So that's the first thing they've got to do. We know they need to. They're probably 2 or 3 pieces light on the O-line, if we're honest.
Yeah.
So they've got to move for that.
They are the most important position is left tackle.
Yeah.
And they are missing a left tackle. And they are paying a lot of money to people to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, it's...
So that's not ideal. Now, they do have pieces at receiver, regardless of Kelsey, stay or go. That, for me, isn't a big deal. Hopkins, I think, will probably have 1 good year left. This year was a bits a year, let's be honest, between the starting season at the Titans and then moving over. What did he end up with? 700 yards and 4 touchdowns?
Something like that, yeah.
But you could see that could improve.
With a full off season, he could be a different player.
Sure. Xavier Worthy. let's talk about him for a second. In the Super Bowl, and a lot of this was in garbage time, admittedly, but 8 receptions on 8 targets for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's one of the quickest players in the league. He's going to take the tops off lots of defenses. He's going to be the number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
So I think they're set there. I don't think that's a problem. And then you've got Smith-Schuster and any number of other
Rashee
players.
Rice back next year.
Rashee Rice comes back next year.
You've got Hollywood Brown still, haven't you?
Yeah, Marquise Brown's still there. Yeah, whether he's still there next year. But I don't think that's an area you need to worry about. So running back and O-line, sure. And then if they can keep the pieces on defense, McDuffie hasn't had a mention this evening. He's been brilliant this season.
He's been brilliant. He has been great.
Bolton, Chenell, they've all been really good. Kalafdis. Like, they have the pieces already there. Yes, they're going to have to juggle some things, but we're highlighting where they really need to go. And it was really obvious in this game.
L'Jarius Sneed going the end of last season, I never felt he was a great player for them. It's hard to replace for what he was doing, but I didn't really feel like they'd replace him at all.
Well, they didn't. It's just been using players like Bolton, and I don't think it's the Chiefs. In some ways, remind me of the Pats. Good defensive players leave, get a lot of money elsewhere, and then you're like, God, didn't he win a Super Bowl whilst a bloke's running and torching past them? So yeah, they haven't got the L'Jarius Sneed, but yeah, I don't think they'll just find what Spagnuolo will do, scheme someone a rookie into the position to be fine.
Yeah. Seems likely to me. Anybody got anything else they want to address about the Super Bowl, apart from how much I enjoyed the Schadenfreude of the whole experience? I must keep coming back to that, because I was so down last week, but so joyous at the end of the Super Bowl.
I think we were all a bit down that it wasn't the Super Bowl we wanted. We wanted, I think, to see a Josh Allen or a Lamar or just something different. But if we're going to get more of the same, it's nice that someone got a bit humbled. It's nice to see someone humbled.
I'd love to have seen Jaden Daniels against Mahomes. I'd love to have seen Dan Quinn get the win back.
Yeah. But I didn't think, but what I did enjoy, my own personal crusade this year, Harrison Butker might as well have stayed at home in his kitchen, because he was absolutely useless.
Why was that your own personal crusade, John?
I fucking hate him.
Because?
You probably shouldn't go to a school and tell women that they're better off in the kitchen and they should be homemakers. Like, you're a kicker, the least consequential position in a football team. Some may say I'm a big kicker fan, but yeah, I think you can. And he's raised a lot of money for Trump this year. After that, so fuck off.
Not a Trump fan, no.
I'm not.
I'm sure he had a lovely time at the Super Bowl.
I'm sure he did. He left early, didn't he? Because
I don't know.
I think he was predicting a Chiefs win.
Well, he doesn't lie. Come on.
Yeah, I know, but
not in that.
Yeah, I think he tweeted or whatever he is posted about Taylor Swift getting booed and then fucked off. But yeah, no, I'm not. I'm a big Harrison Butker hater. If there were no Harrison Butker haters, then I'm dead. So yeah, that's what I enjoyed from it.
But you also said someone has got to cook you your lunch.
Yeah,
just checking. I just making sure I knew where you stood with where women should be.
It's not a woman cooking my lunch.
Oh, I see.
It?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I mean, fucking hell. What are you doing for Valentine's Day? I'm seeing my brother.
Hello.
Oh, I didn't realise it was serious between the two of you.
It's not.
Oh,
it's just pleasure.
Okay, excellent.
We're just gonna eat beige food.
It's gonna be great.
Sounds amazing. When do I get here?
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
welcome,
I've been very popular with Amy, I'm sure. Hi there. No, I'm going around Paul's.
I hear you're not well. I'm fucking off.
Yeah.
It's probably some beige food.
You're not in a position to do it this evening, but it's Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Paul's offering the goods. Bye. And you let me spit on it and everything.
Yeah,
Right.
I've had a bad week. I'm going to have some beige food.
How is your car?
Dead.
Yeah.
My teeth still. I've got a broken tooth.
I know you've not been to the dentist yet, have you? No.
No, they need someone. I need to arrange it properly because it's so broken. They need a special person to come in and take it out.
Oh, I've got scalpels and tools and shit. We could do that at work.
Yeah, it's fine.
We're just doing our weekly catch up here. We haven't had a chance to catch up. Yeah, that's fine. We can do that.
Yeah.
You just want to whip it out, basically.
That's what I want.
That's what you want.
But did you enjoy? Because you went to Brew Point.
I did
for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I've never watched the game out in public before, and me and public don't tend to mix, especially when there's a lot of drunk people. Being a non-drinker, but actually, it was really good. And were we endorsed by Brew Point, I would compliment how wonderfully staffed it was. We never waited for drinks at the bar. We ordered pizzas to the table and it came within 15 minutes. The whole thing was an extremely well-run experience with lots of screens, sound all synced up so no one was getting the score spoilt for them in advance. And it was absolutely flawless as an evening. And I very much enjoyed it and would definitely go out to watch the Super Bowl again, there or elsewhere.
It'd be nice to watch it. I wasn't with you guys this year. It was a bit sad. Because
it was odd not all being together this year. I mainly blame Paul.
Yeah.
Him and his, I've got a job.
Yeah.
So sorry, I
do
like being.
He does have a job, but he also didn't book an event which wasn't happening. Meant that you turned up like shuffleboard was good.
Shuffleboard. Yeah, well, yeah, we did get there early for shuffleboard. To be told that didn't really exist on Super Bowl night, but in the end they let us in. So
yeah,
just don't tell anyone because it breaches the terms of their license.
And that is the Burnaby Arms in
but no, it was very good. It was
Runcorn, where this podcast is filmed.
I was in Leeds, and there was a lot of NFL fans out on the street. Everyone was out in mostly 49ers jerseys, but it was good fun. It's nice to just be out with fellow nerds, effectively. But yeah, so I would recommend Leeds as a place to watch the Super Bowl. It's a good laugh.
I watched the first quarter in my pajamas at home. I recommend that as well. It was very good.
I won't fit in your pajamas.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
not with you in them.
That's
anyway.
why you're coming around tomorrow, isn't
yes,
it?
Absolutely.
See if that works.
Yeah. Anyway,
all right.
Should we move on to the other news?
We should.
Which one? Should we start with Kellen Moore?
Kellen Moore, we've already covered. Kellen Moore has done the inevitable and taken the Saints' job.
I mean, it's the inevitable, but it's still the wrong decision.
Anyone taking the Saints' job feels like a poor choice. I was trying to think of a reason why Saints fans should be excited.
It's not Dennis Allen.
Yeah, it's not Dennis Allen. That's as good as I could get. Look, we should credit him. He's done well as an offensive coordinator. It's an offensively minded league. It's certainly, I would believe, an upgrade on Dennis Allen, who has repeatedly proven he's not head coaching caliber. I think between the rookie head coach experience, the cap hell that the Saints are always in, the fact that
it's not changing this year.
Yeah, the fact that we don't know who their quarterback's going to be.
Well, you'd think it's Derek Carr because they've got a 50 million dead cap.
Yeah, I get that, but they don't seem to want him.
And Moore's been non-committal on him already.
So,
oh no, actually, to be fair, if you cut him after June the 1st, he is 21 and a half. That's workable, isn't it?
I think they might cut him. So then you've got nothing. Because I will go to my grave saying this. Derek Carr's not that bad.
Yeah.
People keep kicking off about having to have Derek Carr, but what would the Raiders have given to have had Derek Carr under center?
Fucking hell, yeah.
Like, come on now. So it's difficult to see a lot of positives for Saints fans or for Kellen Moore. Is he likely to be one and done? No. But is he likely to have a winning record after 2 or 3 seasons? No. It feels like a franchise that's very much stuck in its past and unable to move forward and be competitive again.
You know when...
A bit like the Raiders.
You know when the Browns just needed to 0-16
Yeah.
and just cut some shit.
Yeah.
suck for a little bit and get on with it. It feels like the Saints have just constantly been like hanging on by their fingertips. They just, in my opinion, they just need to suck for a year or two and then just get some contracts.
Maybe that's
off the
how it's
books.
been sold to him. I don't think that is how it's been sold to him.
Because, hey, enjoy your Super Bowl ring. Do you want to lose 16 games?
Yeah.
17 games?
But yeah, I don't think it's being sold as a you've got 5 years, let's see what happens.
No.
Um,
It's difficult to see a path to success. Now, it could all be different after the draft and after we see where they settle, but the Bucks aren't likely to be worse.
No.
The Panthers are on the up.
Yeah.
The Falcons aren't likely to be worse.
No.
Which
I think
leaves
they
the
might be
Saints.
better.
Yeah, which leaves the Saints probably propping that division up. And that's a tough spot for a rookie head coach. We've seen it in other instances where rookie head coaches, Jared Mayo, it's a tough sell when your team is rebuilding and you don't have the experience to run that franchise.
Well, there's been other instances where it has worked. If you take Dan Campbell,
Sean McVay.
Nobody wanted to go into the Lions.
Sure, absolutely. But the Saints' financial position and their history of not being very good certainly works against a rookie head coach. Dan Campbell is a one-off.
Yes.
That guy's energy is something different. I haven't seen something like that from Kellen Moore.
No.
The only thing that makes me think he won't be the worst of the rookie head coaches is I saw Liam Cohen's press conference.
Duval.
And that guy is going to suck.
I think you'll be all right.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
You do.
I do.
Which team wins more games next season, the Jags or the Saints?
Jags. Only because I think 31 other teams will probably get more wins than the Saints next year.
I realise this isn't the right thing for an NFL opinion podcast. I don't care.
But that sums it up, doesn't it? Because one of those two could be the Steve Wilkes or the Jared Mayo of this season, because it could go very badly.
To be fair, Jared Mayo did feel a bit like Vrabel doesn't want it. Stay until he does.
Yeah. A little bit.
Well, I don't know. I think it really hurt.
Oh, it did. Definitely.
They didn't work. I think they really wanted Mayo to work.
Yeah. I think they wanted it to work, but I also think it was the wrong appointment when they made it, and it very quickly became apparent that it was the wrong appointment.
Yeah. I mean, it's also it's a team that was clearly trending downwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you just, for me, you needed a more experienced head coach.
Yeah. It always should have been.
I think they're bringing Brandon Staley as the defensive coordinator at New Orleans.
Really?
Which
fills me with
trepidation.
Yeah.
Like building the Avengers, but building them with bad people.
Yeah.
We haven't got Captain America. This is Captain Oregon.
Bring me his Mexican equivalent.
Captain O Americo.
And, this is the best players are getting old. Cam Jordan. I love Cam Jordan. I think he's brilliant, but he's getting older. Tyrann Mathieu felt past it a few years ago. It's an aging squad. Apart from Chris Olave, who got a concussion at some point last season and then just disappeared.
Has had 4 concussions in the last 2 years. His career is on a thread.
Yeah.
And
Ramczyk is going from the O-line, which means you're left with
Trevor Penning,
who is fucking abysmal.
There's so much rebuilding to be done there.
Yeah, it really is.
And one draft is not going to be enough. It just isn't.
No.
But look, they're drafting slightly higher, aren't they?
Yeah, but
they've been drafting high for a bit. They still just fuck it up. I can't remember who they got last year, but
no, I'd struggle to tell you. Actually, they're one of those teams that just
they had was it the 2017 draft was an absolute beaut.
But how long ago is that?
And that's it. It's
nearly
10 years
Kool-Aid
ago.
McKinstry.
Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's been
and Talise Fuaga.
Yeah.
Defensive tackle. Bless me, absolutely. He was the 14th pick in the first
14th
round.
pick, and we're all Fuaga mad here, aren't we? Kool-Aid McKinstry's fine.
If you read the preview of the of last year's draft, It says the Saints need to address the tackle position after questions about Ryan Ramchik's health. He's now leaving.
Yeah.
And Trevor Penning's career. Because he's been shit for a while.
Yeah.
And nothing really has changed. I don't know. It's difficult to get excited about the Saints, let's be honest. So let's bury them where they are.
Let's not.
And talk about someone else that you can no longer get excited about. Where's Aaron Rodgers going to play? Because I'm not sure his ego lets him retire like this.
No.
But the Jets have officially parted ways with Aaron Rodgers.
It was on the NFL social official today.
Oof. Now, I'm assuming it will be designated a post-June 1st cut,
Yeah.
but they are moving on. They have their eye on one or two other quarterbacks. Supposedly, I read today on Sports Illustrated, Kirk Cousins. Can't get excited about that. And Justin Fields.
See that? I'd like that.
Yeah, I could see that maybe would be a direction. But again, they both feel like bridges to something else. But the Jets don't have a history of drafting a good something else. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Because if you cut him pre-June the 1st,
Yeah.
it's 49 million in dead cap. If you cut him post, it's 14.
Yeah, but I think they still. Yeah, well, fair enough. It will be they were never going to trade him because everyone knew how expensive it was. He needs to finish the legacy and go to the Vikings.
Yeah, and follow Favre's
Follow
footsteps.
Favre's and suck there.
Did Favre suck as a Viking? No.
No, he's fine.
No,
he's fine. But he just needs to.
I just don't. I don't see that because the
No.
Vikings. But
they're a sensible team. They wouldn't do it.
But several people have said Aaron Rodgers to the Raiders. I mean, God, I hope not. That's not what Raiders fans deserve.
If you cut Devontae Adams, do you know how much you save in cap?
No, don't know.
$36 million.
Save.
Cap savings of $36,160,000 post June the 1st.
Right.
Devontae Adams will not be a Jet.
Yeah, he won't be a Jet. No,
He'll wait and see where Rodgers goes. But
Yeah.
they shouldn't be tied together. Devontae Adams is better than Aaron Rodgers at this point. But, yeah, I don't know what his options realistically can be. Does he hang fire, wait and see who needs a quarterback when someone goes down injured? Like I say, the Raiders are rumoured, but that is a poor choice. They're not getting Rodgers from 4 or 5 years ago.
No.
They're getting post-ACL Rodgers. Now, some of his numbers this year weren't anywhere near as bad as the results of the team looked.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers is toxic.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is not a leader. Aaron Rodgers is someone who demands things of his teammates that are just not okay. He had all those great, young, talented wide receivers in his last year at Green Bay. And I know none of them would jump off the page, stand out, it's happening now players. But instead of encouraging them and building and restarting and going again with Green Bay, he basically tortured them and refused to throw to them because, they might have dropped a pass. He's then gone to the Jets, missed a year with injury, which, is no one's fault, but damn, that was funny. And then this year has led them exactly nowhere because he's not capable of building those relationships to lead
Do you know
players.
who the happiest person right now is? Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Because it didn't work last year.
No.
And he is a talented player.
Yet they seem like they were on pre-hitching the wagon to Rodgers. They really seem like they were on an upswing.
Yeah. We were complimenting them for being sensible in their draft business, and yet it reminds me of the Broncos. They're just a quarterback away now, and it turns out, not that quarterback.
Surely they're not going to go into next season with Tyrod Taylor as their number one quarterback.
No, I can't. I love Tyrod.
I think
He's
Zach
35 now.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson's a free agent.
Well, yeah, and Sam Darnold.
And Sam Darnold, yeah.
Can't see either of those going there.
No.
This is why the Kirk Cousins rumour exists, because they're going to need a bridge quarterback. They're probably going to have to draft someone.
Yeah.
But this is not the year. Once the top 2 or 3, once the top 2 quarterbacks go, and even then, Shedeur Saunders is a gamble. He's not a guaranteed hit. So...
Well, there's too much baggage with the entire Sanders family, isn't there? You have to have his dad as head coach, and you have to get his brother, who's not very good, as coming in as well.
Well, I mean,
You say that. he will probably be a Giant come April.
Do you know, the Giants' social media put all the mock drafts on there. And nearly all mock drafts have us going for Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Right.
It's better
It
than,
might
better,
work.
better
It
than
might
Sanders,
work.
but I don't want Shador Sanders.
The Jets need a bridge
Yeah.
while they decide what they're doing. The Kirk Cousins thing I can see, but it's going to cost them.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what Kirk has got left. He's had, he was recovering from the ACL, and then I think he had an elbow injury this season as well. He's come out after the season and basically said, like most players, I wasn't fit all year, and it just didn't work. But there are young, not necessarily what we would want as our starting quarterbacks available this season, a la a Mac Jones, for instance, who's just backed up Trevor Lawrence. That hasn't looked particularly good.
He didn't look awful.
But is a cheap option, I would think.
Yeah, very cheap.
Compared to Kirk Cousins,
Yeah.
for instance. So there's a handful.
Yeah. I mean, you'll get Kirk for a 7th round pick if you want to trade for him, because either that or the Falcons are probably going to cut him, and they don't want to cut him because I think it's a massive cap hit to them. But yeah,
Want to know who else is available? Here's some.
Russell Wilson.
Well, here's some of the names. Here's the one that they're most likely to take, just because it would be rubbish. Gardner Minshew. That would
Is
help.
he available?
Yes,
he'd be a fine bridge
for a year, maybe. Sam Darnold, that's never happening. Darnold wouldn't go there in a month of Sundays. Russell Wilson, I think he'll be back with the Steelers. I can't see him going to the Jets. Jameis, I can absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the New York teams is ending up with Jameis.
Jesus, it's $40 million in dead money, even post June 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins, that's the problem, is the money. But maybe.
If you trade him, 12.5 dead money, 27 in cap space.
Yeah.
He's being traded somewhere for something.
Well, but the only one of the few teams with cap space that is quarterback hungry and is Kirk. Not Kirk, is Raiders. And I don't think I don't think you have a thing, but
I can see the Jets playing someone really uninspiring.
Yeah.
So Mac Jones, hit a random name, Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Like someone that you just be like, oh my God, because I think they might tank and keep trying to build. Because what else are they going to do? Like, there's some talent on the team, but you haven't got talent at the most important position. The head coaching scenario, look, Aaron Glenn might be brilliant, but he might not be brilliant. I don't like rookie head coach, rookie quarterback combos. So if you've got rookie head coach, I think you need someone with experience.
Yep.
And I can just see it being someone that we would describe as insipid.
Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke is another one.
So I'm just going to give you some of the availables.
Thank you. I'll take them.
Donald Wilson, Lance Brissett, Heineke Mariota, Locke Dalton, Stidham Fields, Flacco, Jameis Winston. Would be hilarious to watch there.
Did I not just say this?
Yeah.
Carson Wentz.
Jesus Christ. Why would you want to put Jets fans through the Carson Wentz experience?
Because it's funny, isn't it?
And then you're just going into some absolute dross.
I quite like the Jacoby Brissett. If they get a young quarterback, a bit like the Patriots did, sit them behind Brissett. Like, I don't mind that.
I mean, just for humour's sake, getting Daniel Jones back into MetLife.
Again, like the Darnold thing, I just don't see he would go back. I don't know where Daniel Jones ends up. I really don't.
He'll be back up at somewhere like the Vikings again.
It seems that way. But yes, so the Aaron Rodgers experience, if he's got any sense, comes to an end here. Like,
but that's
5 years from now, people will say how amazing he was in Green Bay. They won't talk about how bad he was at the Jets. But if he continues to sully this legacy, we're always going to go, oh, yeah, do you remember when we used to watch Brady and the Mannings, and you had Roethlisberger and Russell Wilson and Cam Newton, and, oh, yeah, Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl with the Packers and then fucked everyone off.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting a bit like that. A bit like now when they go, oh, yeah, do you remember, Dan Marino and this guy and that guy and Brett Favre, and then he touched some people and said some things and sent some dick pics or whatever it was that he did that upset some people. You know, like, you don't want to sully the legacy.
Yeah, he is. He is almost as well. When he quits, be it this season or whenever, he is getting a podcast, which is just going to be the most horrendous fucking thing.
Yeah, he'll join the Pat McAfee crew.
Yeah.
He'll have his own one as well. 'Cause I don't think Pat McAfee.
Well, wasn't that one of the things? So the Jets said if he was to stay, he was to cut all ties with podcasts and specifically not appear on the Pat McAfee show. Apparently, that was a thing that they said, and he's basically said, "Nah, I'm not going to do what you're asking me to do." And so Aaron Glenn and the GM and the other backroom staff have decided no, because I repeat, Aaron Rodgers is toxic.
It's all about. It's all about Aaron. It has been for years now.
Of course, it has.
Yeah.
I mean, I, for one, love it.
It makes great drama.
Yes.
But I wouldn't want him as my
And that's why we're here.
Sure.
But it isn't our team, so it's fine.
Sure. Move on from Aaron Rodgers and the shit show that will be the Jets next year. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, have you seen that another wide receiver has been told he's being traded?
Go on.
Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, I did see this. This probably should have happened last off-season.
Yes.
I don't think there'll be any shortage of takers, and I think his value has gone through the floor.
Yes. I worry where he'll end up.
Someone as shonky like the Patriots?
I think it could be. Actually, I think a Patriots with the cap space you guys have would be a fun experiment to go to.
Maybe. I think somewhere like the Chargers could really use him.
Yeah.
Like, Herbert needs more weapons.
I can't wait for Justin Herbert to make him look bang average.
It feels like...
You don't even defend him no more.
If the cards don't fall...
I defend Justin Herbert with my life.
But just not right now. I'm having an iron brew.
Yeah.
If the cards don't fall Deebo's way, he's going to end up, I don't know, replacing Devontae Adams at the Jets or being on the Raiders or the Browns, because they'll want him and his talent, but he'll be wasted there.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to go to somewhere with an up-and-coming quarterback who's looking for that number 1/number 2 receiver that, you know, can really break games open when they're having a bad day. Someone like the Bears.
Yeah.
You know...
Caleb Williams is a great shout.
A wide receiver with his ability in the run would be absolutely brilliant with Liam Cohen.
Sure.
But he is so expensive.
I don't know how much he is. I haven't looked at
his contract for this year is
Vile.
It's about 16 million, but it's the dead money for the 49ers is huge. So, they need to. It feels too late. He did have a bit of resurgence at the end of the year. But that's because there was no one fucking else.
Well, yeah, that's it.
And
like I say, it should have happened last off season.
Yeah, I love Deebo, but
It'll cost you $15 million in cap to cut him post June.
Yeah, so I think he will be cut because once again, no one's going to trade for him. There's no value.
You'd have to trade him post June.
Yeah.
And it's still going to cost you 15. So if I'm the 49ers, I'll just cut him.
He's going to be cut.
Yeah, and so he'll have his choice of teams, but you know,
somewhere.
A lot of these players say a bit like Tyreek. I want to go to contender. I want to.
Yeah.
The point is, you've got to fit in and make that team a contender.
Yeah.
You can't just expect to walk into one. Yes, it happens occasionally. Hopkins this season ended up at a contender. But you've got to earn that, and then you've got to get there and make it happen. You can't just go, I want to walk onto the Eagles team that just won the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But that's a Hopkins who went to the Cardinals because he thought they'd be a contender, went to the Titans because he thought they'd be a contender.
Yeah, exactly. He's had to work his way through. And sometimes it doesn't go your way, and it kind of feels like that might be Deebo's story. Because is he working that hard? I don't know. I can't say he definitely isn't. Like, I can't say I've read terrible things about him. But
I think he's, like, compared to Ayuk, he's quiet. I think he has his own particular skill set. But I think that skill set has meant he's taken a lot of hits. And he does spend a lot of time injured now, which means the value for him
Somewhere
is
like the
poor.
Steelers is
Steelers, Broncos, like with a young quarterback. But yeah, I just he's not gonna earn big money where in his next contract. It's a shame.
He's going to have to earn the right to get onto a contender. I don't think he automatically walks in somewhere now.
No, but it's a shame. But yeah, because it's a player I really love watching, but it feels on the turn rather than.
Duval.
I'll tell you,
I can't all go to the Jags with Liam Cohen.
I think he'd be great there, but
I'm not sure anyone's going to be great there.
We'll see.
I'm so looking forward to doing our off-season power rankings so that I can put the Jets back in the bottom 2 where they belong every fucking year because they're going to suck again.
I mean, I am looking forward to our far too early predictions for next season.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
It was at this point last season where I predicted a Green Bay Packers Super Bowl win and a Bengals Super Bowl appearance. So,
go you. You know, the only one of these we ever got right was the Jags when they appointed Urban Meyer, and John and I sat here and went, this is going to be the worst thing you've ever seen. And Jim went, no, he's going to be amazing. He's just won everything in college, and he's got all these great ideas. And I mean, no.
Turns out his ideas was
Sucked.
rubbing up women in bars.
Kicking his kicker.
Oh, hang on, if that's the ideas that get you into the NFL, why am I not a head coach? I don't understand.
Anyway.
Kicking your kicker, yeah, not great. I wonder whatever happened to him. Where's he these days, eh?
God, do you know what? I'm going to look him up.
Urban Meyer. What a terrible name as well. Nobody ever pointed that out. I mean, where's he ended up?
So, who had your child? Thank you. What are you going to call him, Mr. Meyer?
Urban.
This is my son.
Presumably he was a big fan of Keith Urban, but that doesn't sound like the time frames add up. So, Keith Urban's dad? Like, what the fuck was he a fan of?
Well, on a Wikipedia, he is down as sportscaster and former head coach.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
So he's covering college games for one of the networks, basically.
Yeah.
I was delighted when that didn't work.
But once again, we were right. Because when Urban Meyer got fired and when John Gruden got fired, we said they'll be back on TV in 3 years. Both of them back on TV.
Here's a question. 2 really good college coaches that have coached in the NFL and failed absolutely fucking miserably, and it was glorious. Which one was the bigger fuck up? Was it Urban Meyer? Or was it Bobby Petrino? Bobby Petrino, who did 3/4 of the season at the Falcons and then went back to coaching at college and left notes in all the players' lockers to say, sorry, I'm not going to see the season out with you. Never actually said goodbye.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I love it. I love it when I know something that you've not heard of. This is the guy that then in college was having an affair with the girl he appointed as an intern and crashed his motorbike with her on the back of it and had to do press conferences in the Keith Lemon-style massive neck collar to say, no, I was on my own. And then they're like, well, why is she limping? And they're like, oh, yeah. I still think it might be Urban Meyer, but Bobby Petrino was fucking sick. He was just a shit head coach as well. Oh, yeah. He did the dirty on several college teams, left them when he said he wouldn't. And so, you know, as a long-term fuck-up, he probably wins. But as a classic NFL fuck-up, Urban Meyer's right up there for me.
Classic fuck-up.
Classic fuck-up.
Yeah, God, I forgot about Bobby Trent. You have because you showed me the press conference. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's one of my favourite stories. Oh, sorry guys, I won't be with you to see you out the end of the season. All the best, Bobby. Like what? And somebody posted it on their socials with the word "coward" back in the day. That's all I remember. Coward.
Have you seen a big riverboat Ron? He's back in college.
Yes. He said that Bill Belichick's made it sexy to be back in college.
Yeah.
So has he gone to his alma mater?
Yeah, University of California.
Ah, excellent. Yeah. I also did I see Chip Kelly is back in the league as well.
Raiders OC.
Yeah. I quite like the idea. Like, that's a guy that I think can have taken his...
I said this last week, it's Wild Hogs.
Yeah, he can have taken what he learnt before. He strikes me as the sort of guy who would have learned his lessons and gone, okay, I was built up to be this big thing and it didn't really work, but I can adjust and change and adapt. And maybe that'll be a little secret weapon for them. I quite like the idea. Why not?
I think it's going to shit the bed.
Just because it's the Raiders.
It just feels kismet to bring in Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
bring in Chip Kelly, have Tom Brady in the back, have success in the coach's room in this. That is just polishing the turd.
Yeah, certainly.
It depends what they do. They have so many positions they need to fill, and then how are they from a cap space perspective?
I've literally no idea. I don't watch those sorts of things, but certainly the talent on the team revolves around the tight end, and there are not many teams who are really successful just because they have the best tight end, are they? Like,
oh, good Lord, their cap space, they're doing fine.
are they?
Is the Raiders? Oh, they've got 97 million.
Are they second behind us or first just ahead of us?
Second.
Yeah. So, but will they spend it wisely? No, they won't.
No, they won't.
No, they absolutely won't. No,
Because they gave, oh, Jesus Christ, they gave 33 million to Christian Wilkins.
Yeah.
sounds like it's going well already.
I mean, cool. I like Christian Wilkins, but that's crazy money. But yeah, each their own.
Wow.
I mean, is there anything else, or should we?
I can't tell you how pleased I am that we've got to the end of the season and I can have a little nap now in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
Rather than trekking over here to Paul's house, or Gary's house, or wherever. Like, this season seems to have been on some sort of trip. There's been a lot of just inane stuff that's gone on and all swirled round at the same time and has made this drama. And yet, ultimately, we got a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl. And that's why it was disappointing to have that matchup, because the season promised so much with the Lions and the Commanders and the Bears when they started off. And the Ravens were incredible. And Josh Allen was amazing. And the Bengals come back. They nearly came back from the dead.
Yep.
And ultimately, we got a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl. And I'm delighted for the Eagles. I never thought I'd say that. Like, my perception of the Eagles was tainted by when we went to the Super Bowl and sat with Eagles fans, and they were some of the worst human beings I've ever sat with. And that isn't a fair reflection on all Eagles fans. And I was glad I chose them. I was really pleased for Saquon. And I forgot how pleased I was for Hurts, because, now we get to say to Jim, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, James. Yeah. But mostly I was pleased for Fangio, who I think got a rough ride as a head coach and is one of the best defensive coordinators there's been in the league for years and years. But I'm glad that we've got to the end of this season, because I think I need to take a breath. It's been relentless. And now they're talking about an 18th game, by the way.
No, it seems almost inevitable now. Well, I guess we should quickly, we did our own MVP awards, but we never mentioned the fact that Josh Allen, of course, won the MVP.
And my favourite part was mentioning Slick Rick in the mailroom.
Yeah, that was nice.
What a wonderful thing to do. It takes everybody.
I do like Josh Allen. I think he's a nice bloke. I couldn't.
Oh, I know what you haven't talked about. You haven't talked about the Hall of Fame.
Yes. Should we talk about the Hall of Fame and
you can
the
briefly
awards?
Talk about the Hall of Fame, because I think it's going to lead to one of our off-season debate programs.
I feel it's a travesty.
What's a travesty?
A number one overall pick who, all right, I was going to say stays loyal to his team, but obviously got traded on draft night, stayed with that team his entire career, took them to 2 Super Bowl wins, beat the best team never to win a Super Bowl on the way.
Yeah.
And that's not Hall of Fame worthy on first ballot.
Who are we talking about?
Eli.
Yeah. So, should we talk about those who did get in?
Go on.
So, those who did get in were Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Antonio Gates, and Sterling Sharp. So, 2 tight ends and 2 Allens.
Would you take issue with any of those?
Sterling Sharp wasn't a tight end.
Oh, no, Shannon Sharp was
Shannon
Sharp was the wide receiver, yeah.
Oh, I have no problem with Sterling Sharp, because the guy was very, very talented.
He was on par to be one of the best wideouts of all time and got injured, didn't he? So,
yeah. And Antonio Gates, no problem with that. Jared Allen has been on the verge for years.
Yeah.
And, Eric Allen, his 19th year of eligibility and second as a finalist. His wait for the Hall of Fame was longer than his pro career.
Really?
Yeah.
But he was a great player.
Yeah. And
really was.
I have absolutely no doubt.
I have no doubts. I do think there are a couple of some of the first time guys. I don't know if this is going to be a thing now to make it harder to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Because Eli, we will argue, I'm sure, throughout.
But just all the things that you'd usually look at, and I'm sorry to bring the argument in at this point, all the things you'd tend to look at are, did he win the Super Bowl? Is he well performing in stats? Yes.
I think the important thing is, can you tell the story of the NFL without them? And
no.
Whether what you could say about Eli's career, those Super Bowl runs mean that you can't discuss the history of the NFL without Eli. But yes, he will get in. It's just he's not going to be first ballot. Kuechly, I thought was going to get in because the guys, but obviously he's not first ballot. Vinatieri, I thought was going to get in. They're three omissions. I thought, ooh, when I woke up in the morning and like fucking hell, no issue. I have no issue with those who got in, but I was like, fuck, like, Kuechly, like he was fucking amazing.
And also, when you
Vinatieri is like the highest point scorer in kicking history, and Eli is Eli.
Especially when you saw
Yanda.
Patrick Willis got in last year.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I'm going to say this while we don't have the 49ers fans in the room with us. Kuechly was a better player.
Yeah, Luke Kuechly was a better player. His career was a little bit
shorter. Yeah.
And again, longevity isn't everything, but I think
Willis retired early.
Sure, but Kuechly had the shortness of career. That was what worked against him. Vinatieri is a kicker. That's what worked against him. And Eli, like it or not, was never the best player at his position on any given season. And that is why he is not the first ballot Hall of Fame. He will get in.
He will get in.
And you've explained why you think he should on the basis of you can't tell the story without him. And I can't fault that argument, right? But don't be surprised if he doesn't get in next year, right?
No, I won't be.
A lot of people are ashamed of the fact that Eli, for so many years, had more Super Bowl wins than Peyton.
Yeah.
Don't forget, we used to openly mock Peyton Manning for that. Eli was never, ever the best quarterback in the league in any given year, but he did lead the league 3 times in interceptions.
Yeah.
And that works against him because he was seen as this guy who was clutched twice and the rest of the time just played a lot of games for the New York Giants. That is a very unfair representation of his career, but just looking at the 2 Super Bowls is also an unfair representation of his career. He will get in, but if it takes 3 or 4 years, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. No, I think
I think the thing
as well, it's going to get harder because there's some absolute...
At some point, there's just going to be a year where there's 5 quarterbacks going, because Matt Ryan's probably going in.
I would be disappointed if Matt Ryan went in ahead of Eli.
I'm not saying he will.
Phillip Rivers gets eligible next year.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The further we get from Phillip Rivers' career, the more I think he probably doesn't get in.
Yeah.
Because there's too many of them. There's just too many. And they're not going to want a whole year of
We've
quarterbacks.
got Big Ben to come.
Big Ben will go in.
And we've got Tom going in first
But
ballot.
what's the difference between Ben and Eli? Just humour me.
Eli was regularly 1, 2, or 3 quarterback in the league in the peak of his career. He was a much better week-to-week quarterback than Eli.
Yeah, Ben was a...
He was a transformational quarterback at times. Eli never was. Eli was clutch twice. He was brilliant the 2 times it mattered, but the rest of the time, you could have replaced him with half the quarterbacks in the league and the Giants would have done just as well.
Okay. Then you just look at the other stuff. Like Eli was Walter Payton Man of the Year. Ben Roethlisberger had scandals. There's arguments all over the place. It's interesting.
It's difficult, but there's going to be so many wannabe first round ballot quarterbacks in the next 5 years. Aaron Rodgers, we think, is going to retire. Russell Wilson at some point soon is going to hang the boots up.
The only guarantee is Brady. Let's be fair.
The only guarantee of being probably unanimous, and it's never unanimous because some fucker always votes against it.
But no.
Who's the only unanimous baseball? It was Derek Jeter wasn't unanimous. Who was it? Derek Jeter? Somebody really famous in baseball didn't get a unanimous vote because everyone knew they were going to, so some guy just voted against it so that there wouldn't be one. And it's like, don't be a dick. But yeah, Brady is guaranteed. And I don't think Eli can be too disappointed. He'll get in.
Ichiro Suzuki was this, I think, recently.
Yeah.
One person voted against them. So there's only been one unanimous.
Who was it?
Mariano
Rivera, yes. Okay, fine. I knew it was somebody that I'd heard
And Jeter, once again, one person went against him.
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr., 3 people said, that guy's not legit.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck off.
People are dicks, man.
People are horrible. So, yeah.
But Eli will get in.
He
Kinkley will get in. Vinatieri should get in. But again, how long is he going to have to wait? That's the thing. But he should get in. But he's a kicker. And you know, I think that at some point they're going to have some way of saying, right, again, a bit like the MVP race, separate award for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Everyone else over here. Because you said you can't tell the story without Eli, but you can't tell the story about the NFL without quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Because that's what we all talk about every week.
I mean, if you go to you can't tell the story of the NFL, you can't tell the story of the NFL without Vinatieri.
No, absolutely.
Super Bowl winning
Kicks twice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree.
The tuck rule game is Vinatieri's story as well.
Like Big Ben, 2 Super Bowl wins. Like these guys are it. Torrey Holt, for instance, was I loved Torrey Holt. Torrey Holt, in my mind, should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
But you can tell the story of the NFL without Torrey Holt, even though he's won, was part of the greatest show on turf. Like, it's weird.
You're not talking about shit quarterback Torrey Holt. You're talking about wide receiver.
Why would we see
right,
Torrey
just
Holt?
checking.
I love. Yeah, no.
The one whose quarterback was Kurt Schwarmer.
Yeah,
sure. But yeah, I think it is. It might be the starting to make it harder to be first ballot, unless you are a Peyton or Tom. For Peyton and Tom, why wait the 5 years? Just let them.
They should just be in. Yeah. Right.
Like,
if you win more than if you win 3 Super Bowls, you should probably just be in.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like also, if you've retired as the career leader in your field, just put him in. Breeze, just put him in. He only got 1 Super Bowl, but fuck me,
he holds every record.
He was fucking incredible.
Apart
put him
from,
in. You wouldn't have Drew Brees in ahead of Eli? I'd have Drew Brees in ahead of Eli.
Drew Brees is the type of person I'd be the dick who'd vote against.
I like to put the political stuff and all the other things aside, and even to some degree the scandals. Unless they were convicted of something, I think you have to put a lot of things. Don't forget when Peyton was in college, he was accused of shit.
He was,
and
it came back when he won the Super Bowl, didn't it?
Yeah, and do you know what? Some young men will have done some very fucking stupid things.
So,
oh God,
eligible next season. Drew Brees. Larry Fitzgerald.
I didn't think it was Ella Fitzgerald, but thank you.
Just in case someone thought, future Hall of Famer Frank Gore. Yeah. Philip Rivers.
No.
And Jason Witten are the leading names.
The fact that Frank Gore and Philip Rivers are there in the same year is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I think Breeze will probably get in first time.
If there was anybody there out of that group, I'd say it's first ballot. It's Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitzgerald, I think.
Of course.
Larry Fitz and Breeze might be.
I think
might
Breeze
buck
will
the
get
trend.
in too.
Yeah.
And if he does, that might push Eli to another year.
Yeah.
But gun to your head, who would get in? If you had one first ballot, who would you put in?
Oh, well,
Larry.
that lot?
Larry.
Fitzgerald, absolutely. I'm
just wondering who's coming up in 2027. So let's see if we can predict when Eli gets in.
There's got to be one really crappy year where it's like...
it's Ryan Fitzpatrick, Jameis Winston, and Blake Bortles.
For 2027, you've got Big Ben,
yeah,
Adrian Peterson, Marshawn Lynch, Gronk.
Fucking hell, Eli. This is going to be a wait, isn't it?
Wow.
Richard Sherman's coming up.
Fuck.
Fucking hell.
This is what I mean, though. They sort of need to have a separate, like this year, the
2028, there's Brady.
Each year they could say, right, this is how many people can get in.
You
plus,
put Manning in with Brady.
You put Manning in with Brady.
Put Manning in with Brady. That would be so good.
But then 2028, you got JJ Watt, 3-time defensive MVP. He probably gets in, and then Matt Ryan starts then.
Yeah, Eli will get in before Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
if Matt Ryan gets in at all.
I
Statistically speaking, he was amazing. But in light of who else goes in, there's a very good chance.
2029, Jason Kelsey, Aaron Donald start to be eligible. Yeah.
Quite possibly the year after that, Rodgers.
And Bill Belichick is his first year eligible for the Hall of Fame.
I mean, that again, if Brady is a surefire, Belichick is a surefire.
Unless he's come back, in which case, But yeah. Anyway, that's enough, guys. We're gonna have a break. I don't know how long, but I think just next week. I think we're just gonna next week at least. We're just gonna have a night off. Go have some.
I'll tell you now, John. I've been looking at things for us to discuss in the off season. I have 2 names for you: Cleo Lemon and Patrick Ramsey.
Nice.
Know who they are?
No.
Cleo Lemon was the Miami Dolphins quarterback in the 2008 season.
Oh, yes, he was.
Are we going to do some busting unjust?
Yeah, we are going to do some buster unjust.
Because
various other
do you know
things.
what? Do you know we recorded one once? We never put it out because we recorded it
For
effectively.
us,
It was for
during
us.
COVID, wasn't it?
Valentine's Day,
Oh,
2020.
Yeah.
5 years ago, we recorded one about.
I have probably a dozen bust or unjust to go over. And I'll tell you now, most of them are busts. And here's another teaser. Why do we never consider this guy to be a bust? He is. But Tim Tebow, tell me why he's not a bust.
Because he got a team into the playoffs.
Does that matter?
No.
I think it matters.
He was on a team that got into the playoffs.
But when you see all the footage and the hearsay around it, Tim Tebow dragged that team. Doing the Tebow was the thing. But it was a pop culture icon.
But do you know that isn't a thing? One player can't drag a team like that.
Oh, I know. But that's how
I
it's
understand.
that's how it's been portrayed.
But
and
after, what is it now, like 10 years, the mists of time have cleared a little bit. And he was fucking... You know, he's still the record holder for the worst completion percentage from a season of being a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, he was shit.
If you don't last 3 years in the league, you're a bust. That's the thing. He was.
This is why
2 years at Denver, a year at the Jets, and then he was
a tight end for the Jacks.
Yeah,
and this is why it's an interesting subject to do. And I've been writing and rewriting my favourite one to do, which is going to cause us much argument.
Oh, sweet!
I'm looking forward to it. Anyway,
we have lots. We do have lots planned for the off season because we're creating teams.
I'm looking forward to Snappen's Den.
Yes,
Snappen's Den.
Snappen's Den.
Yep.
So we've got plans, but we're going to have some time off first. So we'll see you soon. But I hope you enjoyed the season, the Super Bowl, and we'll see you because before you know it, it's the fucking draft, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
And my favourite podcast of the year, our mock draft.
Oh, I love that. But yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back soon. But enjoy. And thanks for listening this past season.